We got a bidet! Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. In today's video I want to take a look at a book that I have been reading. I got it for Christmas. I was really excited to open this up. I got this book and another one that kind of goes along with it. But the book I want to share with you guys today is Star Wars: The Secrets of the Sith. This book is a book filled with different facts about the Sith and the dark side. The other book that's kind of the other side of the coin, so to speak, I believe is called The Secrets of the Jedi. This one, though, because we're going to cover this one in this video and then The Secrets of the Jedi in a separate video. One of the really cool things about this book is that the book is told from the point of view of the Emperor. The Emperor is the guy that has been, the mastermind of the entire Skywalker saga, as far as behind the scenes in the dark side. So it's really cool to see his point of view on everything, because he goes over, what we know in the movies, but he also kind of dives into other little bits and pieces, like even the TV series, books, video games, you name it. There's a bunch of media outside of the movies that the Emperor talks from his point of view of these things that happen. He kind of fills in the gaps of all these different things that you can enjoy from Star Wars. So I want to talk to you about this book a little bit, give you my opinion, some cool things I noticed about it, some things I wish were a little bit different. And so yeah, let's go ahead and let's get started. Okay. So right off the bat, I want to tell you something that I really enjoy about this book, and it's the fact that it sounds like the Emperor is talking to you. So like, I knew it was the Emperor talking to me as a reader from the get-go. It basically introduces himself and is, telling his point of view of everything, but the way he talks in the movies, like how he's devious and evil, it's just the way he talks is really to the teeth in this book. One of the lines that I loved, I have it written here, he says about the dark side, saying how it's better than the light side, the Jedi, he says, "But darkness is eternal. Unlike the light, it cannot be vanquished." And I love that so much. It's like the dark side will never go away. It's only the Jedi and the light that can possibly perish and be dismissed from the world. So it's kind of his point of view of saying, we'll never go away. We're the ones that are meant to be here. The Jedi, they'll be gone eventually. We just got to figure out how to, wipe everything out. So, that's just a little bit of a feel of how he talks in the book. So it's really cool to be able to go through there and read it basically as if the Emperor is talking to you. That's what I did, and I enjoyed this book quite a bit. Another cool thing going along the lines of, it really sounds like the Emperor, is that when I was reading this book, even though I'm, Team Empire and Team Sith, I feel like the way that the Emperor, describes everything in this book almost makes it like you could sympathize with the dark side. It's like he's very convincing. He's the Emperor himself is convincing. He, turned the whole galaxy against itself. He's so convincing. And just the way that he words certain things in this book just kind of makes you think like, maybe they're not so bad. Maybe the Jedi are the problem, kind of a thing. And so I really, really liked how that aspect of the Emperor was played out in this book. So let's talk a little bit about the format of the book. The format of this book is that, you got your standard pages you can flip through and all that good stuff. And there's a bunch of pictures, which the pictures are amazing. They look really, really nice. But some other things that are going for it in this book, it's not just, flipping through the pages. There's a handful of sections, like right here where there's a flap and it tells you more stuff. There's a handful of those and various sizes. Like for example, this section here, the whole page flips over and has more information to read. So the format of the book, you know, it's kind of like a picture book in a way, with tons of information, but there's also different parts where different flaps will open and you have different things to look through there. That was actually one of my cons I thought of this book, simply because I wish they would have just made it another page of information as opposed to flipping. I feel like eventually, if it's not handled with care, the book can get easily damaged that way. And when you're flipping between pages, for example, here's one where there's a little thing here, and there's actually a paper inside of there that you're supposed to pull out. Number one, that paper was difficult to get out. But number two, when you're reading other pages, like, so this is the page that is behind that. I don't know if you guys can see it very well, but the page is kind of warped. And I thought that was kind of annoying when I was trying to read the other pages that aren't the same one as the one with the piece that you can take out. So the format of the book wasn't my favorite, but the fact that it was, well written in the voice of the Emperor and that the information was rich and really good, delivering more than just what's in the movies, I still think, even though that con is in there, well worth it. And I know it's going to happen for the other book, and it'll be alright. We'll work around it. Okay, so this next thing I'm going to say is huge. And the reason why I say that is because those of you that have seen the sequel trilogy, okay, and believe that the story for the dark side, like, the Emperor shows up randomly, there's no continuity with him, Snoke, all that other stuff. This book explains everything that happened from the Emperor's death in Return of the Jedi all the way up until right before Rise of Skywalker, because what I took out of this book was that it was the Emperor's point of view before he died, because it kind of seemed that we think he died anyways, because it seems like he's planning all this stuff for Rey to come to him, and then he can transfer, to her body by her striking him down. It feels like this book is him talking and then leading up to that point. But it goes through his contingency plan, and his contingency plan was, what if what I planned, in Return of the Jedi goes wrong? What do I do? And it goes over everything that you need to know for it to make sense. Not only does it go over, stuff addressed in the films, it talks about stuff from Battlefront 2, which talked about Operation Cinder, that was also referenced in The Mandalorian. It talks about, how he got to Exegol after he supposedly died on the Death Star. It talks about that. It talks about, what is Snoke's role? What was his connection to the Emperor? All that stuff. And so if you're still wondering how those movies even worked, they got you covered. And even though it seems maybe almost far-fetched, I feel like it's a reasonable explanation to how it all worked. Everybody has their opinion about the sequel trilogy. I have my own. But at the bare minimum, it gives an explanation. And that is the explanation. We can't argue with that. So, to give you an example, I mentioned earlier that this book isn't a simple rehash of, the movies that we've seen. It has stuff from the books, the stuff from the video games, like I mentioned, Operation Cinder. It has, everything and anything that Star Wars media used to connect to the movies, the comics as well. But one thing I thought was really interesting that they plugged in here, just because it seemed like it wasn't super important to the dark side for everybody to know, but it was cool that they put it in here, was Vader's use of the Aeon engine I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But the Aeon engine it looks like this big old rock kind of a thing. And it's a device that allows the living to talk to the dead. And that was referenced in Star Wars Vader Immortal. If you have not seen that gameplay or never heard of it, we have it here on the channel. So go ahead and look back in our videos and you can check that out. I believe it's under the gaming playlist as well. So make sure to look for that. But anyways, it takes little bits and pieces from, those different pieces of media, this one in particular, that is really cool. I feel like, the average person that watches the movies and just sticks to the movies wouldn't know about that stuff. And it really dives into some really, really rich lore. And, it didn't take me long to read this, but there's a ton of information you can get probably within an hour or so. So, definitely cool how they did it all, and I really appreciate it. Alright everybody, that about wraps up for this video today. Again, I talked about this new book that came out recently, Star Wars, The Secrets of the Sith, told by the Emperor himself. I gave you my opinion on it. We are not going to do a read-along on this book at all because it is simply too long to do a read-along. And there's just so much stuff in there to dive into. But I would say I highly recommend this book. I highly recommend you check it out. Like I said, there's a lot of information in here. I feel like, there's at least something to learn from there. If you know all this information, good for you. But I feel like there's even little bits and pieces that I learned along the way as well. And, I try to keep up on my Star Wars. So, I would say, if you're a Star Wars fan and you want to check out more about the dark side, check out this book. And the way you can learn about the other book, the Tale or the Secrets of the Jedi, on this channel is if you turn on those notifications. That way you are alerted when that video drops. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Drop us a like if you like this video. And drop us a comment letting us know if you've taken a look at this book and what cool things you have seen in it. And then as always everybody, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.